Kristina from the Autism News Network, and I'm here with Dr. Donnie Blake, Director of Grief Counseling of Agapé Hospice, and I'm going to ask him some interview questions. Have you ever counseled a person with grief of autism?
I'm glad you asked that. Yes, I have. And I want to explain a little bit of difference with that. There's a total difference with somebody who has autism processing grief and somebody who does not have autism and processing grief. The biggest difference is people with autism have a hard time adapting to change, and their anxiety kicks up with change. When they've lost somebody in their life, it's like double the grief, because not only are they experiencing that loss, they're experiencing that change in their structure and that change in their daily lives. Because we can look at, for example, if somebody with autism lost their parent, they would be experiencing change in their life as far as not just the loss of that parent. It could be loss of shelter, their habitat, where they live. It could be a loss of structure, that family structure, that leadership, that mentor, that carrying of the cocoon of that person who might have been close to them and watched over them, and that structure they're used to. So it totally changes when an autism person had losers in their life and had losses in their life. It totally changes their outlook, because they're trying to figure out how just to process, how am I making it through this day with this change in my life, let alone dealing with the aspect just of the loss. So it's almost like a person with autism gets a double dose of grief, because the change in life is going to kick up one anxiety, and then the loss itself will kick up another anxiety for somebody who has autism. So it takes a little bit more detail. Somebody with autism usually needs a little extra counseling than somebody else, just because they're working through the whole process of loss and the adaptation and change in their life, and that new structure and that new model in their life, how they have to learn how to navigate through this whole new structure in their life that's been totally changed. So most of the time, people with autism have to have a little extra counseling, a little extra help to work through this process.
What are the things that people can do to help get through their grief?
There's a lot of things. People always ask me about grief. Is there a cure for grief? Well, I always tell people there's no cure for grief. Grief is something we have to work through, because there's no magic bullet, there's no magic pill to help you through grief. So it's a process to work through it. Some of the things we do with people is we do writing journaling, as we have them write down what they're feeling, whatever it is, whatever the word they're feeling. If they're angry, we have them write them down, because when you write those down, it's like you're releasing that word. So when you write down, read it back, you can help you process what you're feeling. So that's one of the things we do. We recommend a couple other things we do with people. We teach these things. We teach writing and journaling. We do art therapy, where people can paint through their grief. We do that. Let people paint what they're feeling, and when they see the picture, sometimes that helps them process their grief and what they're feeling. And sometimes when they're doing this stuff, they didn't know they was feeling that stuff. It's internally, but it's helping them release it and identify what they're feeling, and the emotional of their grief, and it comes out in this stuff, in the journaling and the painting. A couple of other things we suggest, like if somebody goes to bed at night, that's when your mind starts easing down, and your mind starts to get active when you're sleeping, because everything's quiet in the house. So your mind gets overactive, and you start working through the processes, and everything starts racing through your mind. So people have a lot of times with loss and grief, they have a hard time sleeping. So one of the other things we recommend for people is a weighted blanket to help them with the anxiety, give them the cocoon protection feeling, and help them calm down at night. We recommend lavender oils a lot of times to help bring calming about them. And these things seem to help sometimes. And it's not a one-size-fits-all thing. So not all these things might work for one person, might not work for another person. The other thing we also teach is self-guided meditation. We teach people how to do a self-guided meditation to help them bring calming in their life, to help them adapt to the grief they're experiencing at that time when it gets overwhelming for them. Especially with autism, a lot of times stuff can get overwhelming to you, and especially if you're grieving, and then you take somebody with autism who gets overwhelmed easily anyway, then that grief could just kick that into high gear. So we really try to teach people how to use calming methods to help them through the grief.
Well, thank you for taking your time with us.
Thank you, Kristina, for having me here today.
Again, I'm Kristina from the Autism News Network.